G'day guys, today I'm in Canberra, our nation's capital. It's an absolute ripper of a day. The sun is out, a little bit of cloud, a little bit of wind, and we're going to take some long exposure photos. Let's get into it. One of the things I like about Canberra is the amount of monuments and memorials that are around. This is a carillon up here, I think that's how you say it, which is basically, from what I understand, like plays chimes and stuff, but it's under renovation at the moment. This thing's been here since 1970. The Queen actually opened this thing way back then. So we're going to get some long exposure stuff. I'll go up there and get some photos of it in a second. Across here is the National Library, and there's some water here. So we're going to do some long exposure stuff here. I'm going to use reflex, or no, I'm not going to use reflex. I'll use re-expose, and I'll use even longer. We'll do both of those and we'll see how they compare. I'm going to set this up with a tripod, the Explorer Pro Photo tripod that I've got here. It's got a MagSafe holder on here. I'll link it down in the description where to get that from. And we'll get some good long exposure photos across the water here. Because it's so bright, we're going to edit these a little bit differently to what I would normally do. Anyway, let's get some photos. The composition of this image, the way I want it to look, I was hoping to have some border around with some of these trees and stuff. That's not going to work because a little bit of breeze, they're moving a bit, and it's just going to ruin the photo on a long exposure photo. So I'm going to get it down low, get these trees out of it, and probably go the 3x zoom lens on the iPhone 14 Pro Max. That'll get us out across the water a bit, have the water in the foreground, and we should end up with a bloody good photo. I'm going to shoot both of these for 2 minutes. This is how they turned out. That turned out pretty well. We're going to convert them in a minute and do some editing, and I'll show you what we're going to do. This here, this is not necessarily going to be a great long exposure photo, but I think both of these apps are going to do justice to this structure behind me here. I'll set it up on the tripod, same setup. I'm going to shoot vertically because it's such a tall building. And this is how it looks. That's not bad at all. I think what I'm going to do now is actually, because I'm in the nation's capital, may as well head over to Parliament House, like the National Parliament House, and get a photo of it. It's a pretty good symmetrical building and it's got a nice pond in front of it. So I think we should be able to get a pretty good reflection off that and do the same sort of edit. Anyway, I'll head over there, get some photos. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for putting a tripod out there in front of Parliament House. There's always armed security there. I don't know what they're expecting, but I'll get the photo and get the hell out of there. Also, if you don't know, we've got a second channel running right now, Windella Farm. It's all about our life behind the scenes, telling you all about what happens on our farm, what we do on our farm, how we make money on our farm. It's actually the reason we're in Canberra at the moment, is so that we can go to this big handmade camera market. It's a high-end market, and it's the way that we branch out with our products that we make on our farm to get all over the world. So if you're interested in learning about what we do besides what I do on this channel here, there's a link down the bottom, Windella Farm YouTube channel. Head over there, hit the subscribe button. I'd love your support over there, guys. Those photos from Parliament House worked out really well. I've got the water in the front. It's a nice symmetrical building. It works perfectly for the sort of photo I was trying to take. Doing long exposures in that sort of environment, there's a reason that I do it. I couldn't help but do an inverted photo there with that water. It worked out pretty well. It's a nice mirror of the Parliament House. But because there's the birds in the front there, the seagulls, and there's a lot of tourists around, doing a long exposure photo in an area like that, the people disappear from your photo. They're not in the image at the end of it all because they're moving through the photo. So it works out to your advantage to do it that way. The downside of doing long exposures in an environment like that, because the security is like next level at Parliament House. There's blokes walking around, federal police with assault rifles and stuff. It's not the sort of place you want to piss off people by doing the wrong thing. And because I've taken the big tripod there and set it up in front of Parliament House, I immediately got a bit of unwanted attention from those security guards. I probably should have used this here. This is a quad lock mount. It goes on, screws onto a tripod holder, but I've actually got a Ulanzi clamp on the bottom of this, and I can clamp this to like signposts and things like that and have a tripod that's only this big. Does the same thing if you're using a quad lock case, which I do. G'day, mate. People on bikes, love it. So the security, they paid me a bit of attention. They started coming down towards me. By that time, luckily, I'd have taken 3 photos actually. I ended up using even Longer Reexpose, and I even did one with slow shutter cam, which was shit. The other 2 apps worked out pretty well. These are the photos after I've edited them. The edit that I do in these photos is basically into Lightroom, into Snapseed, doesn't matter. I'm going to bring some sharpening into the structure. I'm going to increase or decrease the shadows depending on how you've set up the photo. But I'm going to add some sharpening, add some contrast, convert it all to black and white, and they look just mint. And the reason that I do it that way is because long exposure photos right now is, well, in the middle of the day, it's just too bloody bright to do it. You want to throw ND filters and things like that onto your DSLR camera, but on a phone, we've got apps like Reexpose, we've got apps like even Longer, and all the other long exposure photo apps that exist on the iPhone. But because it's so friggin' bright, we haven't got that awesome color in the sky of the nice golden hour sort of long exposure images. I'm going to convert them to black and white, and I think they look a lot better. What do you think about those sorts of photos? All right, that's it for today's. I'll catch you later.